Welcome back to On Stage. JC Chasez burst onto the pop music scene in the mid-90s as a member of the chart-topping group NSYNC. JC recently went back into the studio, this time to work on a concept album inspired by Mary Shelley's tale of Frankenstein. I sat down with JC to learn more about this new project titled Playing with Fire. This is a Frankenstein-inspired musical.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how this project came to be.
Well, the goal is to make a musical, first of all.
Yeah.
The concept album is as a product of that. But it really came about when I had been working with my writing partner, Jimmy Harry. We've been together 20 years and writing pop music. And we ended up working on a project that we hope becomes a musical as well. And we had just kind of finished the first draft of that. And we were coming out of COVID and we were like, well, what do we get into next? The world isn't quite open yet and we have the time to do something. And we started, kind of going through ideas and shooting ideas past each other. And his mother wrote a play that ran at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis called Playing with Fire. And he asked me to take a look at it. And so I read it and was inspired immediately. I had known the story of Frankenstein. I read Frankenstein when I was very young, right? It almost felt like a school project.
Right.
But later in life, when you're reading these things from a different point of view, a mature and artistic point of view, you see all of this amazing material. And the way Barbara, Jimmy's mother, framed this and really focused on the conversation between Creature and Frankenstein, the scientist. And I loved the fact that it was so intimate. And so we started writing right away based on that conversation. And we started with one song thinking, if there's something there, let's mess around. And then 2 songs in, we were like, nope, we're finishing the project.
You're doing a whole show.
We're going all the way. And so we know how long that it takes to make a musical.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. And trust me, everyone has leaned into me and said, this takes a while, just so you know. You can't just make it and then just throw it out there in the world. It takes time because it's a collaborative process.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning that. And,
Yeah.
but what I have enjoyed is, again, meeting interesting, thoughtful, artistic people along the way. And releasing this album, Playing with Fire, as the concept album, is our way of kind of controlling what we can control.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for the musical to get made. We can share a piece of this idea with everybody.
Well, some of the best musicals start out as concept albums. You think of Jesus Christ
That's
Superstar,
literally the inspiration.
Evita, The Warriors,
Six.
The Warriors, 6,
Yeah.
and most recently Lin-Manuel Miranda's latest project, The Warriors.
The Warriors, yeah.
Speaking of pop music and your background,
Yeah, sure.
many know you from NSYNC,
Yeah.
and Juliet is
Yeah.
one of the hottest shows still on Broadway.
Which I'm thankful for, man. Look, Max is one of the best writers of our generation, so.
Max Martin.
Yes.
It was recently announced that Joey Fatone is going into the musical. I mean, is
Yeah.
that something maybe you would want to do eventually?
First of all, Joey doing that part couldn't be more perfect. I love that when he actually hit me up and he's just like, what do you think of this? And I was like, are you kidding? Like, you would crush this.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad he decided to do it. I think right now my focus is obviously the Playing with Fire musical, but I'm totally open to being a part of anything like that. Look, I love what they did. They're having fun, right?
Yeah.
They're taking something classic and, the original Romeo and Juliet. It's heartbreaking. You're talking about a really sad ending, and they decided to flip it on its head and just, have a bit of fun with everybody. And so I love that Joey's doing that. And I would be open to doing something like that. But right now, look, my whole heart is in this project.
I mean, I know you're on the album. Do you want to make your Broadway debut doing this?
You know what? I will say, at first, when I started writing this, my goal was to be one of the creators of it. But as we've kind of moved along, because it was never my intention to actually sing on the album, it was just to write the songs and to co-write the book or co-write the songs. But as we've kind of moved forward in the process, my friend Jimmy, who I wrote this with, I was like, well, we got to find the different voices so people can understand who is who character-wise. And he's like, well, you're singing one of the parts. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, people still want to hear you. And I go, oh, okay, I guess it didn't occur to me at first. And now that the vocals on the record, I'm kind of living with it a bit. And if the opportunity comes along where people say they want me to do it, I'm happy to do it.
I love it. Well, we'll keep coming back to Broadway. I know you just saw your pal Nicole Scherzinger
Yeah.
on Sunset Boulevard.
She's so good. She's so good. And I hope that people go out and see that show and all the shows.
Yeah.
You know, in our version of this story, we really focus on the humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what theater does so well. There's no AI up there. There's none of that going on. That's real people singing
real.
those songs for you every night. And that's also why I wanted to get involved in this. When I read the story, it occurred to me that I really wanted to be a part of something real, even though we're telling stories. And, you know, going and seeing a show, seeing real people up there singing and dancing and pouring their hearts out for you, I love it. So go see a show.
Go see a show. Great advice. And we'll keep you posted on what happens with Playing with Fire. All right, it's time for one last break, but when we return, TV stars Helena York and Michael Zegan go on a first date in strategic love play. They'll be by right after this.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.